This is about Mr. Arlen Porter Smith and his RTS cover. So this is the cover. This is what starts the whole story. It's sent obviously by Bycraft Limited in Canada with a Canadian 46 stamp, international rate stamp to the USA, to Mr. Arlen Smith at ILC, and the address. Well, that address happens to be the Twin Rivers Correctional Facility in Oregon. And they decided that this ILC here, I presume this is what happened. I presume he found a business reply card in the programmer's marketplace section, because that's alluded to up here, in Dr. Dobbs' journal, some monthly programmers magazine, and he sent it in with his address, listing his company as ILC and disguised the prison address. So that's what sparked this letter. And then the prison officials said, well, this ILC is circled and the manuscript added illegal inmate organization.
Wow.
Who is this Arlen Porter Smith? He was born in 1951, convicted of serious offenses, 105-year sentence they finally gave him. But what's the fascinating part, he's taken on the legal system with over 300 separate filings, going right up to the Supreme Court. And he generally challenges these administrative procedures, how people do things. And one of them was how community college rules regarding how a student can challenge a grade received at a community college. Some of them are really, really bizarre. At the very end of this presentation, we'll look at one of them. But the question is, what is this philatelic connection? He challenged the Oregon Department of Corrections procedures regarding the rejection of prison mail by the staff. And specifically, this is part of the information from the internet. He says that he asserts that several rules violate Article 1, Section 10 of the Oregon Constitution and the Federal Due Process Clause of the United States Constitution, because it deprives inmates of meaningful opportunity to contest rejections, confiscations, and censorship. It prevents inmates from sending and receiving particular materials. And the key is he was objecting to the procedure here, not the fact that they had rejected his mail, but that he couldn't contest it in any way. So I wrote him a letter in October saying, I learned of your legal challenges. I think you're 100% right in challenging the rules. This is part of it. I had written a short article for publication in Canadian Stamp News. And I enclosed a copy of the article with my letter, a one-page article, and I attached my address label to the bottom. Well, guess what? Now, here's the article. I said, is it fair to interrupt mail to a prison inmate? I explained how the prison official had returned this Bycraft letter, and likely others. Explains the basis for his challenges and includes the summary, missed the word S there, summaries of the legal decisions, and that I supported his position. Really simple. I thought he had a good case. He always wrote, in all the stuff that I read about him, it was always very well expressed. Well, guess what? That was returned to me. Refused, return to sender, violates inmate mail rule. And right up here, someone had written in pen, stamps or address label. What I had done. Well, so this is their rejection. Other than canceled postage stamp, address label, and a return address stamp attached, another typo, to the front of an envelope or package, no item shall be taped or affixed to the envelope or package or its contents. And what had I done? I had stuck on my mailing label on my letter. So
I don't think they like that guy.
no, especially they think, yeah, I'm sure they read my letter too, my draft article and how I supported it. So obviously they knew I was on the bad side of the fence to start with. This is another legal challenge of his. It was reported in the newspaper that an inmate who challenged prison policies regarding searches of dreadlocks for contraband. This is Arlen Porter Smith, filed the suit in 2017 saying they didn't have proper procedures Not that the fact that they searched the dreadlocks, that they didn't have procedures. And if you're religious and needed to have dreadlocks because you're a Rastafarian, a fancy article, but it was a little ironic because he didn't have any hair himself. So the newspaper reported that the court rejected his argument.
No, but he
But
did
he's had
have
a lot
a
of
hobby.
fun doing these challenges.
He did have a hobby to keep him busy during those 105 years,
Right.
and that was
And he did in one of his cases where he talked about when, can I please have my sentence? Can I please be eligible for parole? They said, and he said that I would work for a legal office, and I could easily see why he would get a job working in a legal office. So that was letter number one. I sent a second letter, 3 pages long. In it, I didn't want to include the actual article, so I just summarized the article. He gave me a very nice 4-page reply, small printing, and he says he received notification my first letter had been returned, although he didn't know why, because we had never established communication before. He included various newspaper articles, no further correspondence with him, but the key was that his appeal on the issue of his procedural issue to be able to contest a rejection was dismissed. And as of yesterday, he's no longer listed in that prisoner inmate list that I checked in 2010. And I presume he's either died or was released. I don't do social media. He might be on Facebook, or if he is, but that's the end of the story.
Maybe he escaped.
He was also in one of the 2017 judgments. It talked about in 5 years that he would be talked about a parole hearing in 5 years. So that could have happened in 2022. I'll never know, probably. That's it. The end of the story. But that's what you can do when you find one cover and do a bit of research.